Japan edged a tight contest with Samoa. My name is Mark, let's talk rugby. We have late changes on both teams before kickoff on this one. Nagare misses out and he's replaced at 9 by Saito for Japan. Samoan captain Rui is out as well, and Luatua comes up from the bench into the second row. Samoa then get an early chance to go for the post, but Leola is just off target with his kick. Like it was very a close kick, and it could have got them off to a decent start, but they didn't have a very impressive maul. Makes good ground, but then they spread it and the move breaks down. They then lose Seiyu to an early injury, so another big loss for them. Japan finally produced something out of solid. They attack off a solid scrum in their own half. They get it out wide to Lemeki. He busts tackles, bounces people off, takes them deep into the 22. It's then recycled. Himeno then with a nice tip on to Leviskanya, and he stretches to score. Matsuda converts for 7-0 to Japan. Samoa then have a chance to hit back from a line-out in the Japanese 22, but this one goes completely wrong and it's a scrum to Japan. Samoa's line-out really did malfunction for most of the evening, unfortunately for them. But then they do win a free at the scrum and a chance to feed, and they win a penalty there as well. They decide to kick to the corner. Again, this one results in a scrum to Japan. This time, after some bit of intricate play, didn't quite come off for Samoa. Japan tried to run it from the scrum, but Nakamura, he gets isolated, and Tawatene and Lee both were over the ball there, won the penalty. Leola makes it 7-3 from the tee. Samoa then with hands on the deck, and it's a penalty for Japan for 40 metres out. Matsuda kicks this one and it's 10-3. Japan then win the penalty right at the restart. Samoa off their feet again, and Samoa, they got to be better at the restarts, and also just discipline around the breakdown is costing them at times as well. Japan, they again strike off the back of another scrum. Good hands, and then Lemeki, he has a great carry this time on the right. They recycle and get it out to the left, and then Leach goes over in the corner. Matsuda converts from out wide, and it's 17-3. Tawatene then gets yellow for, I think the referee said it was a cynical push in the build-up to the try, so Samoa down to 14 for 10 minutes. Samoa then come forward, making good ground, keeping it in the forwards, then give it out to the backs, get them to within 5 meters, but again, it breaks down. And you think just, a little bit more accuracy, and they could have had, a couple of tries already in this one. We do have a TMO review though. Horie, he's put an upright head-on-head challenge. He gets a yellow, and it goes to the bunker for review. And it's hard to tell whether at the moment now whether these ones are going to be yellow or red, and I've got a few wrong, thinking that definitely red. But on this one, so I'm changing my thinking a little bit, kind of, rather than thinking it in the way that I think things should be interpreted. I'm now looking at what's happened recently and what might come out of it. So on this one, I'm thinking, okay, he was a little bit passive in the tackle. He was actually, kind of stepping backwards. And also there was a dip in height from both players as well before it. So I'm thinking, even though like my instinct is saying red, when I reason it out like that, I'm thinking it's probably going to be yellow. Samoa goes to the corner from the penalty. Luatua, he claims the line out. Japan initially do well to stifle the maul, but then they Samoa kind of shifted a little bit to the left, and that gets them that momentum. The backs come in, but they're already going over the line, and it's Lamb the score at the back of the maul. Conversions missed were 17-8, and that turns out to be our halftime score. Into the second half, then we hear that the level of danger is low in the Jorge tackle, probably because he was, actually stepping backwards. So that stays at the yellow. Lele Fano then kicks a brilliant 50-22. Samoa with another great chance to attack. Lineout is a bit scrappy. They somehow retain the ball, but then Himeno gets over the ball, wins a penalty for Japan. Thought he was excellent today for them. Then Taumatene, he tackles off the ball and gives away a penalty. Japan go up the line, and he's a bit of a live wire, but today he was just so costly to his team. Like, he got the yellow card, and then he gives away that penalty as well. Japan coming forward, making good ground in the 22, but then the ball goes forward in contact. The game was stopped though because you have a high tackle from Ben Lamb on, I think it was Labuschagne. He gets a yellow card, and that one goes to the bunker. And I'm thinking, will this one be a red? It looks red, but we've seen ones similar not be red, so I'm not sure. Japan go to the corner from the penalty. They then win a penalty for Samoa swimming around the side of the maul, back to the corner, and this time they maul it over. Himeno is the scorer. Conversions missed. We're at 22-8, and you're thinking at that stage, Japan should be able to close the game out from here. And then we hear that the yellow has been upgraded to a red. Samoa are probably going to finish the game with 14. Japan then win a scrum penalty, and Matsuda strokes it over for 25-8. And yeah, it looks like they've got the game won at this stage, and they should really be looking for that bonus point try. The game then really loosens up in the last 20 minutes or so. Both teams having a go with ball in hand, but there's plenty of knock-ons and mistakes as well from them. Matsuda then looks to benefit from a Samoa error. He goes in from halfway, but there was a knock-on earlier that was picked up by the TMO, but the referee, he didn't, it was Jacko Piper, right? He didn't see it, so he was saying off-field is dry, but for those of us watching, we knew straight away that it was a knock-on. It was pretty obvious. Samoa then attack from a scrum. Manu and Lee with some great carries to get them within 10 metres. Lele Fano, he goes close. Then McFarland with a nice offload before Paia'au goes over in the corner. So great score there by them. And McFarland, I thought, was excellent as well for Samoa in a losing team. Lele Fano converts this from the touchline. It's 25-15. Japan then, they cut Samoa open again, from a scrum. Those set moves from the scrum, Samoa found it really difficult to deal with them. They get close to the line. They win a penalty, kick it to the corner, looking for that bonus point try now. But Samoa get in there. They disrupt them all. Really good play by them. They make it unplayable and turn it over. You then kick it out, but Japan come back. Samoa are being very aggressive in defence, but then we have, they're a little bit too enthusiastic, go off their feet, give away a penalty. Matsuda then gives Japan that just a little bit of extra space that maybe they need on the scoreboard. 28-15. Shortly after then, Samoa win a penalty at a scrum, and they kick this into the corner. They initially go backwards towards the edge of the 22, but then Malolo gets them back on the front foot. They have penalty advantage, and when the move breaks down, they come back for that. Malolo taps it, he goes, they recycle it a couple of times, and then Lele Fano gets over to score. He converts his own try, and it's 28-22. And I'm thinking Samoa could win this, but they only have like a minute left on the clock. Japan, they kick it long at the restart, making sure that Samoa have to go the length of the field if they are going to win. initially Japan are kind of holding him in their 22, but then they go off feet. Samoa, they get to kick up the line. They get it into Japanese territory. They need to secure the line out, but again, it malfunctions. Japan claim it. They carry up a little bit, then recycle and get it off the field, and that's full time, 28-22. Japan win, and felt like the game shouldn't have been that close at the end. Samoa, I thought, did really well to come back into it with 14, but Japan, you would kind of worry about them. They have now that game against Argentina that they have to win, and if they're kind of this, kind of soft when it looks like they have the game won, and then again against an Argentinian team who are a bit wishy-washy as well, so you wouldn't know at the moment. Thanks, phone. My phone keeps interrupting me in these for some reason, but yeah, you wouldn't know from there what's going to happen with them. But Samoa, discipline is a huge issue for them, and they need to sort it out. Like, they're giving away too many penalties, too many yellow cards, too many red cards, and it just feels like they need somebody in their setup to sort that out. To get these players and drill it into them that you have to, you're basically costing your team with doing stuff like this, and they got to cut it out. Now, every team we've seen teams give away, pretty much every team of this World Cup has given away a red card probably in a test match over the last 12 months, but it's the consistency of conceding yellows and reds and penalties that is the problem. It's not like one-off incidents. It seems to be almost a culture thing where they have to sort it out, get those players tackling lower, and also discipline around the breakdown as well. But they did have some good stuff there. Again, aggression in defense, as long as they can keep that discipline, was good. They put some good moves together, but just that final pass, seemed to elude them a little bit. Scrum went well at times, but then Japan turned it around and it kind of went backwards and forwards. Need to sort out the line out. Japan, we saw them. That's the set moves off the scrums were excellent, and a couple of their tries came from that. They mauled well at times, other times a little bit ineffective though when they were going to the corner. And also for them, I think a little bit more accuracy in their play as well. They went for things that were a little bit maybe too complicated at times, and if they had kept it, like the tries off the scrums were well worked, and they weren't actually overly complicated either. And if they could kind of get that balance, I think they're going to have a good chance of making the quarterfinals. But Samoa, unfortunately, they still have England to play, but their chance now of making the knockout stages are gone.